Afghan children being sheltered at a Heartland Alliance center in Bronzeville are experiencing challenges, including suicidal tendencies, after fleeing their home country during the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. That's according to a report from ProPublica, Illinois, that says some Heartland Alliance workers are expressing concerns over children's behavior and say they are ill-equipped to care for the children. Joining us to tell us more about that situation at the Bronzeville Center is Melissa Sanchez, a reporter with ProPublica who covers immigration and low-wage worker issues. Melissa, welcome back, and give us a sense of what you learned is happening inside that immigration shelter.
Sure. So a couple of weeks ago, I started hearing from workers at this shelter, which is in Chicago's Bronzeville neighborhood, that they were overwhelmed and just didn't know how to properly respond to a significant number of Afghan evacuees who had started arriving about 2 months ago. And what they were describing was significant language and cultural barriers that made it hard to communicate with these kids who were coming in with a lot of trauma, were harming themselves, were cutting themselves, were hurting other kids, hurting staff, trying to run away, requiring hospitalization for psychiatric issues. And just the staff was, I've just never seen folks so frustrated and unable to respond the way that they wanted to. These are people who really care about the kids and just didn't know how to do that.
And for reference, how many children are we talking about?
I just got updated numbers today, and at this particular shelter that Heartland runs, there's about 40, 43. Overall, Heartland has 4 shelters that are currently open in Chicago, and they have 77 Afghan evacuees there. To get the national understanding, like Heartland has more kids from Afghanistan right now than any other shelter organization in the country. There's a total of 185 according to ORR today.
And from what the staff have told you, what kind of trauma, what have the children been through?
I mean, the U.S. has just pulled out after 2 decades of war there. So there's part of that, the war piece. And then after the pullout, you have all of these people trying to leave Afghanistan as the Taliban is taking over. And children, some with parents, some without parents, made their way to the airports. Along the way, there might have been Taliban checkpoints that separated children from their parents or from the adults that they came with. At the airports, there were more separations. And kids as young as 2, as far as I know at Heartland, kids wound up in airplanes without adults or parents. And some of them ended up spending time at a military base in Germany or in another country, and then eventually made their way here to DC and eventually here to the shelter. So they've kind of gone through all of this separation, leaving their homeland, like war in their homeland, and a lot of confusion about what's happening next. So I think that's what one of the problems is right now, in addition to the fact that they can't communicate directly with the workers, the people who are supposed to take care of them at this shelter, because nobody there speaks the children's languages. It's really, for a lot of them who are separated from a parent or from an adult back home and don't have anybody here that they can be placed with, there's a lot of uncertainty, and that's causing even more anxiety and stress.
So Heartland Alliance has issued a statement, and it reads in part, we have met with city and state partners to address significant systemic barriers to accessing psychiatric assessments for children in need of inpatient care. We are in regular communication with local hospitals and clinicians to augment the limited supports available. At the same time, we have enlisted a provider to begin individual and group therapy for some of the youth. We've also been connecting our Afghan youth with individuals from the Afghan community and offering in-person Jummah prayers, weekly visits to the mosque, and integrating many cultural comforts like foods and activities that the youth are requesting. Melissa, how would you say the staff are working through this, and do they have what they need in order to support the youth?
Yeah, I mean, I think Heartland has made some improvements in the past couple of weeks. I just learned in the past few days that workers got the handheld devices that when you speak into them in English, the device will shoot out in a robot voice the translation. So there's been some progress recently, but some of these kids have been there for more than 2 months. So I'm really delighted that there's some changes, but it's been a really stressful couple of months for the kids and for staff. Staff are still overwhelmed. I'm actually hearing ever since the story published, I've heard from even more workers who are telling me more of the same. I think I think Heartland's in a really hard spot. I don't know, I don't have any solutions, but I have heard that in Michigan, there's another emergency site that's taking in children from Afghanistan, similar kinds of kids. And the shelter is different than Heartland. This is like a big former nursing home, 4-floor, very institutional feeling. This other place is more of a campus with residential cottages. And what an immigration lawyer who spent time there told me is that every single residential cottage has at least one person on site who's an interpreter who speaks these kids' languages. And when I told the workers here at Heartland about that, they were just so jealous. That was the word that they used. They wish that that kind of thing could exist here. And I want to say that's not entirely on Heartland. That's also, this is the federal government's responsibility. These children are in the care of the Office of Refugee Resettlement of the US government. So I think ORR, the government has shown that they can do this right, they can do this better, as the Michigan case illustrates, where the lawyers told me that they're not dealing with the same kinds of problems we're dealing with here. So I think there's the possibility that things can get improved here. I mean, clearly the language issue is really significant.
Obviously. And Heartland Alliance has also said in a statement that the shelter is heavily recruiting the staff that speak the children's languages, but the process has been delayed due to vetting and background checks. And you write that Pashto and, say it for me, Pashto and Dari
Mm-hmm.
are the name of the languages that they speak. A heartbreaking case. I'm sure you will remain on it. Melissa Sanchez at ProPublica, Illinois. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.